Despite dramatic improvement in lifting people out of extreme poverty around the world, in the countries identified as fragile by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in 2020, conditions are worsening. Before the global COVID-19 health pandemic, it is estimated 80% of the world's extreme poor would live in these volatile places by 2030, including many of the world's most vulnerable children. That percentage may be higher once the aftershocks of COVID-19 are realized. Motivated by our faith, World Vision has worked in these fragile places for decades and has made empowering the most vulnerable children and communities in these contexts a core part of our mission. Because fragile countries don't all share the same risks, World Vision tailors its approach to helping communities and children in the hardest places. I want you to meet my friend Mario in Honduras. Mario is 15 and was forced to leave his rural home because of drought and move to the city. That's where he experienced gang violence and was displaced again to his grandmother's. Now I want you to meet my friend Sheikh. She is 10 and lives in a refugee camp in Bangladesh after fleeing a violent conflict in Myanmar. Every day she has to help her family cook, clean, and take care of her younger siblings. While she does have a temporary shelter, it came at the price of deforestation and overcrowding on the coastal peninsula. This means Sheikh and hundreds of thousands of other refugees are exposed to disease outbreaks, landslides, and other disasters during typhoons and rising seas. Finally, I want you to meet my friend Rita. She lives in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC for short. Last year, she lost several friends and family to Ebola, including her husband. Rita is 34, and she's lived with ongoing conflict and food insecurity her entire life. The DRC doesn't have proper roads, schools, health systems, or communications. That makes it tough for Rita to work or build a better future. All three of my friends have something in common. They have all been suffering from more than one crisis: extreme poverty, natural disaster, or conflict. And all three of them live in fragile contexts, which means their countries don't have the infrastructure to weather a crisis. The government doesn't provide the needed services or lacks public trust. And many people don't have access to markets. This combination of higher risks and lower coping capacities makes context fragile. And it's what has kept Mario, Sheikh, and Rita in a fragility trap, without a clear path out. And the situation is only getting worse. For example, Mario in Honduras suffers from many problems, such as climate change, urban violence, extreme poverty, and social exclusion. Sheikh in Bangladesh, already a refugee and far from home, might be forced to get married to help take the economic strain off her family. Rita in the DRC couldn't get medical care for her dying husband because of distant and hard-to-reach health clinics. All three of my friends are caught in multiple crises and risks to which they have very little capacities to overcome. They are caught in a fragility trap. So what can be done? To address these issues, communities need long-term development programs to build coping capacities to multiple crisis risks in the form of predictable food supplies, disaster preparedness, education, and healthcare. To better overcome this fragility, they need to build resilience. World Vision is working on more resilient approaches to relief and development in fragile states to help empower the most vulnerable children and communities build a better future. Too often, relief and development work is focused on meeting urgent needs of communities, but not in supporting these same communities to anticipate and cope with risks and crises that disrupt their lives and livelihoods. In the DRC, this means creating stronger infrastructure and health systems. World Vision is the World Food Programme's #1 implementing partner. And in Bangladesh, we are distributing food and helping families earn income through a Caste for Work program. And in Honduras, World Vision's programs open doors to jobs for at-risk youth and help communities advocate for policies that protect them. But strengthening society's resilience involves fostering new and more responsive relationships between individuals, communities, civil society, governments, and businesses to address their shared risks and to help the most vulnerable children and communities. World Vision will continue to walk with the communities we serve toward a brighter and more resilient future, as we've done for decades with the support of our generous donors, the trust of those we serve, and the conviction that we can and must help children in the hardest places to not only survive, but thrive.